What's going on, YouTube? Ledger here once again. This time at you again with some Honkai Star Rail this time, actually. We're not talking about Genshin, we're talking about Honkai Star Rail. And honestly, I'm very, very, very excited for this game. I did talk about Honkai Star Rail one time when I was doing the beta. I wasn't a beta, I was able to test it out. I was able to see how this game goes and everything like that. And I loved it. I liked what I saw. I had a ball playing it. And I'm going to have a ball playing it in real time when it isn't released with the rest of everybody else, right? But if you are interested in Star Rail, I got 5 tips for you. 5 good tips in order to help you out in the beginning of the game. That's going to be able to help you to make sure you don't make the wrong decisions and stuff like that when you're trying to play. So if you follow these tips, you should be pretty good. All right. And at the end, you know, it seems like there was a Seele trailer. Seele right now so far is my favorite character. So we'll react to that at the end. So if you want to see that reaction, I'll try and leave a timestamp for that. And also too, if you do like the content that I do give, if you do like my content, definitely subscribe to the channel. I mainly cover Genshin, of course, but depending on how good my content with Star Rail goes, maybe I'll cover that too, because I am going to be playing regardless. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So yeah, so let me know if you, so definitely leave comments down below if you guys like Star Rail content. Leave a like on the video to let me know that I'm doing the right thing, all right? But yeah, let's get into this here. So first I want to start off with tip number 1. And the tip number 1 is for your Stellar Jades, right? Which is, if you're used to Genshin, Primo Gems, your in-game currency to pull. Use those only for the limited banner, right? So for my Genshin peeps, you guys probably might understand this mindset already, but for those of you who are not familiar with it, don't use your Stellar Jades on the standard banner. Now, the reason why I want to kind of emphasize this is because people are going to be excited to pull on that standard banner because you're gonna get your guaranteed 5-star on the beginner banner. But for the standard banner, after you do 300 pulls, you're going to get a 5-star selector. You're gonna be able to pick one of the standard 5-stars that you want. People are gonna hear about this, gonna be excited about it, so they're gonna try and get to that 300 as soon as possible. I don't advise you to do that. I don't advise you to do that at all, because one, the amount of time it's gonna take to get to 300 pulls is gonna be a long time. Naturally, if you're not using Stellar Jades, it's going to take you almost around 2 years to get to that. Like, that's a good estimation. Around 2 years of playing this game in order to be able to get enough free pulls in order to get that 5-star selector. And the other way to do it is if you send your Stellar Jades on to try and hurry up and get to that 300 pulls. But if you were to use all those Stellar Jades on the limited banner instead, you'd be able to pick whoever character you want. You'd be able to get multiple limited characters, which typically end up being stronger than the standard ones, right? I mean, granted, it's the beginning of the game, so there isn't much of a disparity in strength, but typically that's how things go, And even if they weren't, just being able to pick what character that you want to get, and then still just losing 50-50 here and there to get the standard ones, that is a better way to go than just not building towards anything and just spending it on standard so you can eventually get that selector, which is going to take you a lot of time and resources. So do not do that. So when it comes to that 300, it's something bonus, it's something that's far in the future. Look, just get that out your mind for now, and one day you'll be able to pick that 5-star eventually. It's something better to have, but it's not something that you're going to experience in the beginning of the game, all right? So always remember that. Also, too, one thing that I also want to hammer in, right? Level characters from the different elements and the different classes. What do I mean by that, right? So in this game, you're gonna have different classes. You're gonna have classes like Hunt, where they focus on single target damage. You're gonna have Erudition, I think it's pronounced Erudition or whatever it's called, where they focus on AoE attacks, right? Where they attack everybody or adjacent characters and stuff like that. Then you'll have Nihility, and you'll have your healers and all kinds of stuff like that, right? So there's characters in these different classes, and there's characters in a different element. One thing you want to be able to do on your account is to diversify this as much as possible, because you're going to have situations where there's an enemy that's weak to ice. You're going to have a character that's weak to enemy that's weak to fire. You're going to have characters that are weak to all these different things, imaginary things like that. And one of the keys to making these battles as easy as possible is to be able to attack them with your weaknesses and break the defenses. And you're gonna be able to do that easier when you have a variety of different elements to choose from, and when you're able to take advantage of different classes, you're able to diversify your gameplay, also making it easier for you. Because one mistake I made when I was in the beta is that I kind of neglected some classes. I completely neglected Hunt. I kind of put my resources into erudition, and I didn't have any Hunt characters, right? You got Don Hung for free. I kind of left him in the dust because I didn't like him that much. I was gunning for Seele and I didn't get her, so I didn't have that. And, you know, I was sleeping on Su Shang, which I eventually smartened up and realized how cracked Su Shang is as a character. But I neglected that, and that made me struggle because I didn't have that Hunt character. I didn't have the heavy single target damage dealer, so whenever bosses came around, I struggled a bit. I was still able to beat it because if you strategize, you can still do these things. But the fact of the matter is I struggled because of that. And then when Su Shang came around, I leveled her up, then I was good to go. But yeah, so you want to be able to diversify that. I ended up pulling Welt, and the thing with Welt is he's Nihility, and I didn't have any Nihility characters leveled up. I had a Pela, but I didn't level her up or anything like that. And when I did that, being able to debuff the enemies, that helped diversify my gameplay also, which skyrocketed my account. So you want to be able to pay attention to these classes. Don't just do the DPS. Don't just do the DPS and healers. Make sure you cover different bases. Make sure you have your buffers, and you make sure you have your Nihilities, things like that. Because this opens up the doorway for a lot of you. Even shielders, don't neglect those either, because those can help you out to the point where you might not even need a healer on the team. And when you get later into the game and you start getting to the Forgotten Halls, or the Spiral Abyss version of the end game, you're gonna want to have two teams, and maybe one team. If you don't have Bailu, you're just gonna have Natasha, who was a healer, who was one of the free characters that you get. So your other side, you might want to take advantage of having shielders on that side instead. So you still want to do these things, right? And then sometimes it's better to just prevent damage altogether than to take it and try and heal back from it, so you don't get one-shots and so on and so forth. So each class does have its advantages, and you want to be able to have characters, as much characters in a different class as possible, while also diversifying the elements. So that's another tip for you right there when it comes to diversifying it, right? So that way you don't waste resources, building a bunch of erudition characters, which I did, and then all of a sudden now you're struggling to find resources to build your other classes, right? So make sure you do that, right? The third thing right here, the third tip that I got for you guys is to invest in your 5-star. All of us are going to be able to get a 5-star within the game relatively quickly, right? Because of the beginner banner that guarantees us a 5-star, right? So whoever your 5-star is, people might be gunning for a certain 5-star and you don't get it, and you heard that this 5-star isn't that good, so you don't invest in them. Don't make that mistake. Invest in your 5-star. When you get each 5-star is good at what they do, right? I mean, one of the 5-stars I'd be the least excited to get is Japard. I don't really care for Japard, but he is a good shielder, and if I were to get him, I'll still invest in him because, one, his shielding is so good that it could erase the need of a healer, which is great. He does have his advantages. He's good at what he does, right? I got Himiko, who people thought that Himiko wasn't that good, and she wasn't that good. She was okay. But, one, she did get buffed. So that's the thing when it comes to that. She's able to apply burning to whatever ability she uses, where before it was just her normal attacks. So if you guys don't really understand what that means, she just applies the status element where she does damage over time. So basically the point of the matter is saying that every 5-star does have their qualities. They do have their things that they do better than a lot of the 4-stars do. So when you get your 5-star, definitely invest in them. Don't neglect them. Make sure that they can do what they need to do, and that will be great, Other thing with that. So I definitely advise you to not neglect your 5-star that you do get, no matter who it is. There isn't, as of right now, there is not a bad 5-star in this game. As of right now, there isn't, right? People might say Bailu's the Chi of this game. Yeah, but we don't have a lot of healers, so it doesn't matter. She's high value as of right now. Maybe next year she might be out power crept or whatever. Doesn't matter. Invest in your 5-stars and you will be just fine in terms of that right there. So, but number 4, right? Which is honestly, maybe I should have made it number 1, because this is probably the most important thing. Guys, this is a video game, right? And the point of video games is to be able to have fun. If you are not having fun, then what's the point? So my 4th tip is to have fun with this game. And why do I feel that this can be said right here? Because that is obvious, of course, but sometimes people get kind of consumed and chasing the meta, right? And I can understand that, because I consider myself a pretty meta player too. But playing through the beta and playing mostly with the free characters, because most of the time I was playing the beta, I just had the free characters and I had Himiko, and that was it. And this was pre-buff Himiko. This is beta Himiko, so she wasn't that great. I was still able to clear everything. I was able to kill all bosses. I was able to get far into the end game. I was able to beat the different simulated universes. I was able to beat Forgotten Halls, which is, so the simulated universe is another end game aspect of it. I was able to do all these things with the characters that I got free and the 5-stars that I was able to pull along the way. Like Jin Wan is good, right? And people are going to be gunning for him and stuff like that. The fact of the matter is, you don't have to chase him, you know? You don't really have to go for him in that sense if you don't want it, right? Because you can, Serval, who is also Erudition Electro or Lightning unit, she works just fine. You have the freedom to go for whoever you want because the free characters that you get are that good. They are good enough to be able to clear the content, to clear the story, to kill some of the end game. So that's not really something you need to worry about. So just worry about who you like better. If you think, oh, who should I go for, Seele or Jin Wan? Whoever you like better. Simple as that. Who do you like better? And just playing around them, right? If you want to get Seele and you have what it takes to be able to get Seele and you get it, then, build her out and then use her as your hunt character. If you like Jin Wan, save up for him for his banner, get him, and he'll be your Electro or your Lightning Erudition character, right? I keep saying Electro because that's Genshin. So if you're not familiar with Genshin, that's what I mean when I say Electro, the Lightning element, so on and so forth. So yeah, so there's no need to stress yourself out with chasing meta, If people want to be meta, let them do that. That's their way. Sometimes people, it's what's fun for them is to make sure they're trying to be optimal as possible, which is great. But if you are unsure about the meta, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. As long as you build the correct characters and follow the other steps that I have mentioned, then you'll be good to go, all right? And another thing which is definitely vital to this, I feel this game, is do not rush. Don't rush through the content. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll rush through the content trying to get as much witches as possible, and I don't think that's the way to go, because this game is not like Genshin in the sense of where even if you get through the story, you still have a whole lot of other stuff to do outside the story. So like you have exploration, you have a bunch of stuff you can explore, you will have the different events going on and so on and so forth. I don't know how events are going to go too much when it comes to Honkai Star Rail, but if they go like how they did in the beta, they're going to take up even less time than Genshin events that have their own story attached to them, right? So there is not much, this is kind of a negative of the game, there isn't much to do after the story is done. This game focuses more on the story. It feels more like a traditional JRPG where the brunt of the content is the story itself. So if you rush through the story, you're not going to have much to do. You're going to get bored. You're going to get tired of it. We have 2 modes for endgame right now. They mentioned this 3rd mode, but I don't think it doesn't seem like it's going to be something too big or anything like that when it comes to that fight club that they have. But for the most part, the end game isn't that expansive, and I don't think it's going to get much more expansive than this based on MiHoYo's track record. So rushing through the story, rushing through the content is going to get you bored very quickly. So don't do that, right? Take your time, go through the story at your own pace that you want. If you have fun going at it through a fast pace, so go ahead and knock yourself out. Just know that you're not going to have much content after that. But don't feel obligated to rush through that. Take your time, enjoy the story, do what needs to be done, and then and when the next record day comes, you'll still be fresh and ready to go at it again. So those are essentially my 5 tips that I have for you in terms of Honkai Star Rail and what it takes to be a beginner. I do feel that those 5 things are vital to know, and if you follow these 5 things, then you should be pretty well off. Now that I've finished that portion, I do want to take a look at this Seele trailer. So come on with me, join me as we watch the main waifu at work. The thing about me is I'm a Hu Tao guy. I'm a Hu Tao main over in Genshin, and I think Seele or Seele or whatever you want to call it might be it for me for Star Rail actually. So let's see.
Here they come again.
Quick, don't let her get away! It's a
She's done.
Ooh, see there she goes. Teleport all over. Ooh.
Making trouble on Wildfire's territory?
God.
You guys got a lot of nerve. Still here?
There we go.
I'm afraid things
She's so beautiful.
got
Look at her.
complicated.
Man, yeah. I love her design so much.
Sometimes a sharp blade is the only way to get people to come to their senses.
She's so cool.
Did I ask for your help? Looks like you could use it.
Yeah, you could
Let's
use
make
it
this
actually.
quick. Don't tell me what to do.
Two of them together is something
There's
else.
always a weakness. How about this move? Now for the one that slipped through the net. Stop holding me back, Overworlder.
Hey, is this a Bronya and Seele trailer?
Disappear among the sea of butterflies.
Oh,
Illusions of the past.
I love it. I love it. I love every second of it. I like Bronya too, so she's definitely at top of my list. You know, I want to make sure I get her because she is one of the best 4 stars you can get. But you can't control if you get her or not until you get to the 300. So, but yeah, I really do want her. But whoo-wee. Seele, I don't care. I will spend to get Seele. I'm not gonna wail on this game like I would with Genshin, where I get constellation stuff like that. I'm just gonna keep it at C0 and call it a day. Maybe I might get weapons. Who knows? We'll see how my luck goes. But yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. So let me know what you guys think. Definitely. You know, if you like the video, of course, you know, hit the like button right there. Comment your thoughts down below. What you think, were these tips helpful for you? Yeah, and if there's anything that you thought that I missed, anything important, definitely, you know, let me know. You know, it'll be important. If there's anything I missed, you know, people can look at the comments and see what else they should know. So that would be good too. And subscribe to the channel if you like content like this, whether it's Honkai Star Rail or Genshin, you know, things like that. All right. With that, I'll end it there. Let you know.